Hello, gorgeous. I'm not normally here on the weekend, but so far I've had a positive response to my little experiment with foundations, and I thought I'd go ahead and film today and possibly tomorrow as well as Monday through Friday, because I believe I have 7 samples left. So let's try to do this all in 1 week. Also, I wanted to give a little bit of a recap on last week. I've gone and looked at the cruelty-free status of all of the samples I tried last week, because you know that's really important to me. I looked at 2 sources. I looked at the Leaping Bunny website, and I looked at the PETA website. None of them showed up on the Leaping Bunny website as cruelty-free. On the PETA website, the Body Shop is listed, but it notes that it's owned by L'Oreal. L'Oreal is the parent company. L'Oreal is anything but cruelty-free. Smashbox is cruelty-free, but owned by Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder is not cruelty-free. And finally, Cargo, Benefit, and Sicily did not show up at all. And I'm somewhat mystified, because Cargo, I thought, used to be cruelty-free. I'm not going to take the time to research that right now, but I found that interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, Sicily, I believe, is cruelty-free, but they sell in China. So that explains that. All right, today's sample is going to be Yves Saint Laurent Teint de Soie, which in English means line soothing foundation, apparently. And the color is number 2. And since I'm at home and not going anywhere today, I decided to put primer on this side of my face and no primer on this side of my face to see if that makes a difference, because I can't help thinking that that's part of the culprit here. Okay. It looks like this color is going to be really, really too dark for me, but we're going, you know, that's not the point of the experiment, is the color. If I liked the foundation, you know, I could go buy it in the proper color, but in this case I wouldn't, because Yves Saint Laurent is not cruelty-free. But anyway, also I wanted to tell you a little bit of the history of my face, so you understand where I'm coming from with regard to all these foundations. I grew up in Houston, Texas. Houston is built on a swamp, and Houston is 50 miles from the coast, from Galveston. So Houston is famous for its humidity and oily complexions. And that's what I thought my whole life, was just oil, oil, oil. And when I was 35, my ex and I relocated to Fort Worth, and quite literally overnight, I had wrinkles. Okay, I exaggerate. Within a week, I had wrinkles. And over the course of about a month, my skin became very, very dry. And then 15 years ago, I moved to Mississippi, and what I have now is a dry complexion and a slightly oily T-zone. So that's sort of the history of my face. The other history of my face is that I have some broken capillaries around here. Is that right? I have some broken capillaries here and over here. And I have some little weird things. I'm not sure what they are. These little brown, they're not moles, but they're just little stick-up thingies. I have three of them. I used to have one up here. I had that removed from the dermatologist, so I suspect I could have these others removed, and at some point, now that I'm a working girl again, I probably will. And then I've got this odd thing on my forehead, which is, I'm embarrassed to tell you, it's a non-healing wound. I'm diabetic, and it's just a blemish I got that just refuses to heal. And it seems that at night I sometimes reach up and scratch the scab off. I certainly don't do it in the daytime. But anyway, so that's what's going on with my face. Notwithstanding, oh, and I've got some, acne scarring. But anyway, notwithstanding all the scars, I just don't like a thick foundation on me. It just doesn't look right. So, you would think I'd have a compulsion to cover up all this mess, but I don't. I just feel like I personally look better with a light to medium coverage, and if that stuff shows through, that stuff shows through. Okay, I'm going to briefly turn on my mirror, which I found out is 14, not a 15, and take a quick look. Well, this is interesting. It's very thick. And it is sitting it's all sitting there on like an oil slick. The interesting thing, though, is it seems to have nothing to do with the primer. It's doing the same thing on both sides of my face. It's looking equally horrible on both sides of my face. Interesting. Okay, I'm not going to be powdering and putting on a full face of makeup to judge how it lasts, because if you've seen any other review of this Yves Saint Laurent Teint de Soie, you know it's apparently fabulous and it lasts all day. I won't be using the rest of this sample, though, because it's far too dark for me. I might pass it on to one of my sisters who has a little darker complexion, but I just don't even... It's so thick and heavy on my face, I just wouldn't even want to wear it to work if I were going to work today. And that's just a matter of personal preference. It's weird, though. It's not creeping into the lines. It's not creeping too much into the pores. And it is behaving the same on both sides of my face. But it is thick and heavy, and I'd have to rub half of it or more off to be happy with it. So anyway, I hope this was worth coming to you on a Saturday. I did want to explain sort of what my complexion is like and what my personal preferences are, and I should have done that at the beginning of the week, because that sort of does dictate how I feel about everything I'm evaluating. But anyway, I will be back with you either tomorrow or Monday, and we'll continue this experiment. I hope you're learning something. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm learning a heck of a lot. Love you all. See you tomorrow or Monday. Hi, it's me again. Okay, it's really just a few minutes later. I did decide to take an even closer look in the mirror, and I did discover one difference on each side of the face. And I'm going to try to come in close so you can see this. I don't know if you can. No, this side of the face, the side with the primer, right here in the cheek area, is far cakier. Instead of, sitting like an oil slick over there, it's sitting like cake batter. Actually has a bit of a thickness to it. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Okay, see you tomorrow or Monday. Bye. Hi all, it is Sunday, what is it, the 19th of April, and I have gone ahead and come deliberately here on a Sunday to use this one foundation sample, because last time I used this brand, I couldn't even wear it out of the house. I had to wash it off my face, and I just don't really have time to do that on a weekday anymore. So it is Bare Minerals Ready SPF 20 Foundation. And what this did to me the other time I tried it, it might not have been this specific Bare Minerals, but Bare Minerals generally, it made me look like I was 100 years old. It definitely went into every pore, crease, and in addition to that, it just gave me this shine all over my face that just, I don't know, it was the worst foundation experience of my life. So we'll see if it's any better, or I'm any better, or what. It conveniently came with a little brush, or else I have another sample of it around here somewhere. Well, one thing interesting about it, I'll say, is I'm either over applying or there isn't enough here for a full face, which makes it kind of a worthless sample, right? It's been a lazy Sunday for me. I've just kind of got caught up on my sleeve. I'm still sitting around in my, I guess my mother would have called this a house dress, and or duster maybe, and watched a few YouTube videos, not as much as I'd like, but I've watched a couple. Well, now I've got to say there wasn't enough of this, I don't think, but from a distance it looks good. I'm going to look very quickly in my mirror. Well, I'm wrong. Actually, what little of it there is, and as I say, there wasn't enough, actually did go into all of my creases and pores. The camera's very deceptive. From a distance, I always look pretty good. Maybe that's what high definition camera's all about. I'll see if I can get close enough for you to see. No, you really can't. But it has gone into all the pores and wrinkles, and there wasn't really enough to tell too much about it. So anyway, this one's sort of a fail, and I'm glad I did it on a Sunday because it wouldn't have been enough to wear to work. So anyway, I will be back tomorrow, and we'll be resuming the more normal foundation samples. So see you then. Love y'all. Bye. Good morning. Hello, gorgeous. Today we are trying Trish McEvoy Beauty Booster Tinted Moisturizer SPF 20. To that end, I am serumed and primed but not moisturized. And this stuff is so liquid, it's already kind of oozing out of its little package. So, and by the way, it's Monday the 20th. So here we go. Oh man, it's going everywhere. Okay, it's sitting there, but not like an oil slick. It's sitting there just like it just needs to be pounced in more, but it's not falling into the cracks and creases or the pores. So, and the color looks pretty nice. So I will see you later this evening, and we'll see how this worked out. Initially, though, it's looking high. It's not 8 hours later. It's actually about 2 minutes later. In the time I took to tell you how it looked in the mirror, it dried, and in drying went into every pore and crease on my face and began to resemble an oil slick on my face. So in order to make it work for work today, I had to put a little moisturizer on my my sponge and rub it in and wipe about half of it off. So Trish McEvoy is not a winner. I mean, I've got it to where I can actually wear it to work today, but it doesn't look very good, so the report tonight probably won't be very good either. Anyway, see you later. Bye. Hi, it's 11 hours later. I'm checking in to assess the Trish McEvoy Beauty Booster Tinted Moisturizer SPF 20, oil-free. And as I stated earlier this morning, I ended up having to wipe half of it off in order to be able to leave the house. But what remained has stayed with me. And to what extent it had gone into the creases and pores, it actually has kind of settled down, and what's there looks decent. It's rubbed off the nose due to, I'm sure, blowing the nose, but other than that, it stayed where it was supposed to be. Trish McEvoy is cruelty-free. On sample day, I had tried some of her eye cream, which I ended up liking a lot. This, obviously, I didn't. That's it for today. See you all tomorrow morning. Bye. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, April 21st. Today, we're trying La Prairie Cellular Treatment Foundation. It does not say what color, but, well, it's not going to focus. But the color looks about right for me. I am prepped and primed and moisturized and all that. I do want to tell you that I started Retin-A last night, but I doubt it's going to have much of an effect on us, because I'm going to be doing it the way that Angie Hot and Flashy recommends. I did it last night. I won't be using it again for another week. Then the second month I'll be using it twice a week and so on. So hopefully I'm not going to have a huge reaction. It'll be a gradual accustoming to. And I'm doing the whole thing of not, you know, getting it around here, around my eyes, or around there. So okay, this is looking pretty good. Let me look in the mirror. Okay, it's just a little bit dark for me. If I were buying it, I'd probably be buying a shade lighter than whatever this is. It is more than I thought, just sitting like an oil slick on the surface. And it is going very much into these lines and these lines here. So doesn't seem to be going into the pores though, only the lines. So that's new and exciting. Okay. But anyway, I will rub off. No, it doesn't look like I'm going to have to rub any off actually, but I'm going to blend it out as best as I can in powder and go on to work. And I will check in later this evening and we'll see how it went. See y'all later. Bye. Hi, here we are. We're 8 hours later, roughly, and we're evaluating the Prairie Cellular Treatment Foundation. And after I recorded this morning's, putting on of the foundation and tapped it all in, within a couple minutes, it actually did sink into the pores around my nose. But after I powdered it, it just, other than that, it really did look very, very pretty. And continued to all day. It still is showing in the pores around the nose and has, gone away a little on the nose where I blow my nose a couple times during the course of the day. But other than that, it did look really pretty. Unfortunately, La Prairie is not cruelty-free, and you pretty much have to mortgage your house to buy anything. I'm exaggerating, but La Prairie is a higher priced item. And so I personally would not purchase this, but if it's in your budget and if you have a complexion similar to mine and maybe don't have as big pores in your nose, you really might like this a lot. So I cannot, in all good conscience, recommend it because of its non-cruelty-free status, however. So anyway, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Love y'all. Bye. Good morning. Hello, gorgeous. It is Wednesday, April 22nd, and this morning's contender is by Lumene, Finland. It's called Bright Now Vitamin C BB Cream with SPF 20, and the color is medium. And I've already cut it, and it's oozing out the sides. So let's get on with it with no more shilly-shally. And I'm maybe going to try the whole dotting on the forehead thing and then rubbing it in. I should probably be wearing light, but, when it's a sample, you get what you get. I can't remember where I got this sample, even. I want to think maybe it was a gift with purchase from Nordstrom. Where you buy, I don't know, $65 worth, and they send you a big bag with a bunch of stuff in it. Okay. Like I said, this is medium. I might do better with light, but this is what I have, so. It doesn't look too horribly dark, though. Not enough to make me stay home from work. Ha ha ha. Today is apparently some sort of administrative assistant day in the United States of America, and at my office they are treating us all to barbecue. I work 10 to 7, and I take a late lunch. I take a 3 o'clock lunch, and they're serving from 11 to 1:30. So I'm not sure they even believe that any of their little staff people take a lunch that late. However, being probably the only vegan doesn't really matter to me. I'm taking my lunch like I always do. Except occasionally, we have a nice little Italian restaurant across the street, and sometimes I go get a salad. Okay, I'm gonna look in the mirror real fast and see what's going on. Wow. Wow. Okay, that's the most perfect thing I've seen. Wow. Other than the color being too dark for me, I should have light. This is not going into any crease. This is not going to any pore. It's what I would call a medium coverage. In other words, you can still see my skin underneath. I actually personally prefer a little lighter, more of a light coverage, I guess. But wow. This is even better than the two that I liked from last week. Wow. Okay. I'll finish putting on my makeup and I'll come back later tonight and we'll see how this one did during the course of the day. Wow. See you later. Bye. Hi. It's Cindy. It's 11 hours later. I've just looked at this Lumene. Let me show you what it looks like again. Bright Now Vitamin C BB Cream SPF 20. It's worn off a little around my nose. It did go into my pores a little right around in here. But by and large, it looks as lovely as it did when I left the house this morning. I'm going to have to research and find out if this is a cruelty-free company, because I may have found a winner. So I'll be back with you tomorrow morning and we'll try something else. Love you all. Bye. Hi, it's Thursday, the 23rd of April, 8 o'clock in the morning. Today we are trying Josie, Maran's Argan Matchmaker Serum Foundation, Instant Self-Adjusting Light Medium Foundation. And here's what it looks like. I did try this one before sometime back. I had 2 samples of it, but I don't quite remember how it worked out. It seems like it was okay, but a little dark. So we'll see how it is now. Okay, so this is like that other one. It's white. So I guess we'll... You know what? This is not like the other sample I had. This is totally different. I've probably put on way more than I need. Okay, it smells good. It smells kind of like coconuts. I have a feeling I put on far too much of this. But we'll see, won't we? The texture's kind of weird. Yeesh. The texture's like a little gritty. That's strange. Okay, you know, from a distance it looks pretty nice, but up close it has gone straight into every single pore on my face, every single line and crease on my face. It's that reverse chickenpox look that I got before, but literally it is in every single pore. We're going to see what happens here. If I can't blend this out better, I might have to remove it, in which case, when I report back, I'll be telling you I wasn't able to wear it. So, anyway, we'll see what happens, and I'll see you later. Bye. Hi, so here I am. Uh-oh, camera's a little weird there. It's 13 hours later. Don't ask. Anyway, I've just looked in my mirror, which, as it turns out, is 14, not 15 magnification. And this didn't wear well. It did go into all the cracks and all the pores, literally all the pores. You know that artist, Roy Lichtenstein, who does the... you know, it's like a comic strip, except giant, you know, painting, and since it's blown up, it's got all the little black dots. I'm like a photo negative of that. And not only did that get worse as the day went on, but it started kind of looking crusty in places. That's the best way I can describe it. In places where I'm not dry and crusty, it got crusty. That's Walter White singing the blues. It's dinner time. Okay, so anyway, that's it. This was a horrible fail for me. Although the color matched me better than anything I've tried in the whole 2 weeks. But beyond that, utter fail. Anyway, thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the morning. Thanks a lot. Ugh, I'm really tired. Love y'all. See you in the morning. Bye. Good morning. It's Friday, the 24th of April, and it's the last day of the last day of week 2 of the battle of the CC, BB, creams, foundations, and tinted moisturizers. There, that's better. Today we are trying Stila CC Color Correcting Cream Broad Spectrum SPF 20 in light. So this color should definitely work for me. The color. As far as the rest of it goes, who knows? It's blue. So I'm going to assume this is another one that adapts to your face. My face is going through some strange changes. As I mentioned, I used my Retin-A for the first time Monday. I haven't used it since, and there are interesting, unusual things happening on my face regardless. Okay. I'm gonna rub it in some that way because I'm not seeing anything happening. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's one of these things adapting to the color of my skin. I'm gonna check coverage. Okay, it's a light to medium coverage, and I'm going to pounce it in. Like yesterday, it's definitely a dead-on match for my skin. Alright, let me check the mirror again. Wow, well this is, at this point, doing that thing that I want. It's a light coverage. You could probably build it up to medium, and I might add a little more, but it is not sitting in the pores. It's not sitting in the cracks. It's not forming an oil slick on top of my face. It has become one with my skin. That's what I like. So, unfortunately, Kathy A. Fisher mentioned a few weeks back that Stila is no longer cruelty-free. She said that, by the way, about a week after I bought this. It will be very sad for me if this turns out to be the best thing I've ever tried. Why? Anyway, we'll see. I'll see you later this evening, and we'll see how it worked out. Bye. Hi, it's Friday night. It's been about, wow, 11 and a half hours. And other than a little bit of in the pores around the nose, this by far has been the best thing I've tried in the entire 2 weeks of this experiment. And this was, oh, it's totally missing, but it was the Stila CC cream. And very sorry that Stila is no longer cruelty-free, and that's fairly recent. Kathy A. Fisher might be able to tell us why, but I think it might have to do with Sephora in China selling Stila products. I'm not sure. But anyway, so the search will continue. I've almost decided that what I'm going to do is continue this experiment. I have 2 or 3 samples left, but as I've mentioned, I've got a drawer full of foundations over here. And I am tired of buying stuff. And so I think I'm going to continue trying these foundations and CC and BB creams and tinted moisturizers until I decide which one I really love. And what I might do is do a giveaway at some point with the ones that aren't working for me, and maybe give 3 or 4 or 5 to each person. And, you know, if you're on your own foundation journey, you can try them out. And if you don't like them, pass them along to a friend. So, it's been interesting. And I wanted to tell you one last thing today, because just because it's so pretty. I wanted to tell you my jewelry. This bracelet. And it has a little sea turtle dangly. And the necklace, which matches the shirt so well, see? And I love this necklace because it's one of these things. It's got a little magnet clasp. It's gorgeous. Has trade beads. And then I have the matching earrings, which I wore to my junior college reunion. See, they match the bracelet. Last fall. But I've been having some trouble with this ear. And I think it's just pretty much completely closed up. My ears were pierced when I was 7 by my mother with a needle and ice. And I think what happened on this one, she just kind of chickened out and stopped a second and took a different course, because this one's never been quite right. And I think it's finally just completely closed up on me. So I'm going to go get that one re-pierced. I think they could probably do it right in the same hole. At least I hope so. So anyway, so I can wear these beauties again. I don't know why I was able to wear them just briefly in the fall, but haven't been able to wear them again, or any earrings for that matter. So anyway, I very rarely, you know, I don't wear a lot of jewelry, and I don't often comment, but I think these are so beautiful. I will, you know, put them in the box below if you are interested. These are designed by Patty Bean of Bean and Bach Jewelry, and I will put a link. And all their stuff is really beautiful and reasonably priced. So, okay, that had nothing to do with the foundation, but it's so pretty. Anyway, okay. If I do continue doing this foundation experiment, I will probably continue to put up a video about it every week or 2. But I know that not everybody on the face of the earth could possibly be interested in this. So what I'll try to do is do an additional video of some sort or other every week, so that if you aren't remotely interested, but you know, like my channel, you'll have something to watch. So anyway, that's all for this week. I will probably recap tomorrow morning before I put this up. And thank you all for watching, and I hope you learned as much as I did. Love y'all. Bye. Hi, I'm just going to briefly recap, because this video is my longest video in the history of the world so far. When I continue doing these foundation tryouts on a daily basis, I'm only going to do 4 a week, and I'm going to try to be as brief and to the point as I can. And I'll be starting, well, I started taping those yesterday. Okay, So in the course of this video, I used Yves Saint Laurent, checked both Leaping Bunny and PETA on all of these. They are not cruelty-free. Saturday I used Bare Minerals. They do not, that doesn't show up on either list as being cruelty-free, and I thought Bare Minerals was. Monday I used Trish McEvoy, which shows up on both lists as being cruelty-free. As you will recall, I really disliked that product. On Tuesday I used La Prairie, not on either site as being cruelty-free. On Wednesday, I tried Lumene Finland, which I liked very much, and saw many references across the web to it being cruelty-free, but it's not on either list. So I can only assume it's being sold in China. That I love that very much. Too bad. I won't be buying it. On Thursday, I used the Josie Maran, which shows up on both lists as being cruelty-free, and as you will recall, that product did not work for me. And on Friday, I used Stila, which turned out to be my favorite of the entire 2 weeks, and it does not show up on either list as being cruelty-free. I believe that is a recent development, and makes me incredibly sad, because that was the best product I used in the entire 2 weeks for my complexion. For somebody else, it may not work, but at the beginning of this week, I said what my preferences were and what the state of my face is. And so, taking that into consideration, maybe you can make a determination as to whether or not it would work for you. Any of these, all of these. Anyway, that's it. End of week 2. Thank you. Hope you enjoy. If not, watch something else, because I'll be putting out another video of some sort every week. Love you. Bye.